Hey guys, and welcome back to Balancing Divine Feminine Ascension Frequencies with your gal, Aria Jade, where science and spirituality come together and mesh in the filter that is my brain. This crazy things came through this morning to me. I was mowing grass and I thought about one of the first phrases that I was taught as a child, and it's mean as a snake. And as I got to thinking about it, it's like, who teaches their kid mean as a snake? And at that point in my mind, snakes were bad, right? I didn't understand. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. That was code. That was something that I would never forget throughout my whole lifetime. You're mean as a snake. It was a saying back then. Mean for a girl in the early 70s was not okay. We were supposed to be prim and proper. Oh my God, when you left the house, there was so much binding going on, pantyhose. And for a little girl, they had these frilly little underpants you had to wear with lace on them. And all of this stuff that would come up around your neck was horrible. I already felt like I was being trapped in something that I was not comfortable in. I didn't want to be a girl at all when I was little. That masculine, free spirit was all inside me. I didn't want to wear a shirt. I really didn't want to wear clothes at all. But, I'd wear my underwear and shorts. But barefoot, no shirt, running out. Anyway, long story short, it makes sense to me now. Mean as a snake, strong-willed, and out of the box female. And that snake, I can't ever tell how to do this. Wrong way, Shelley. Right here is, of course, Uraeus. He is royalty. He's crowning. He's always changing, shedding his skin and growing. He's the wave of energy, right? That magnetism, that feminine drawing together. It was just a great morning. Anyway, to get on with what this is supposed to be about, the Bible's divination magic and Bible spells. This one, again, I've got to do it backwards. William Alexander Orbello. It's good. It lays it out by scripture. Okay, and it goes through and tells you, I meant to go through here and tab some of my favorite ones, but spells that you can use with incense for healing and psychic development, and crystals and gemstones that you can use with these, remedies for fevers, great power to prevent wicked or malicious people from doing injury to you, ways to banish convulsive fevers, ways to get rid of whooping cough. So back in a day when people didn't have doctors, quacks really on every corner trying to shove a pill down somebody's throat for some money, they came together to heal each other with what they had, with the resources that were available. Oh my gosh, went to a great class this week at DeSoto Falls. I feel like I've already said this, but I know that I haven't. Alabama is just a wealth of water. I didn't know that it's the most wet state in the whole United States. Had a lot to do with where we were after the glaciers melted, that the ice never came all the way down into Alabama. So all of these tributaries and things were where the runoff had to make it to the ocean. So now we have 4 huge river systems, tons of streams, tons of water. You are always right near the water table. If you haven't seen my video about the spring in Hoax Bluff, look at it. All right. And we were taught about this book, Southern Wonder. And it's about Alabama's beautiful biodiversity. Alabama is basically the rainforest of the United States. Like, we have so many trees and so many beautiful things. We have the highest species of salamanders here, which means we have more to heal each other with. We have access to more natural herbs, and you can go to allapark.org, I believe, and register for classes to take at DeSoto or Cheaha or maybe even in the Talladega National Park. But go to these things and learn ways to heal not only yourself and empower yourself, but to heal your family. Going back to these books, so people used what they had, and what they always had, especially down south, was a Bible, right? So not to have to go through somebody else meant that you had to have enough money to be able to go to school, because back in the day, school was not a privilege, it was a luxury, right? So if you didn't have enough money, you didn't get to go to school because you had to work. You had to feed your family on the farm. Anywho, if you could read, that was luxury number one. So that meant that was step one, as to not be able to control you. Just the fact that you could read. All right. Then when it goes on from that, you've got to be smart enough, or really brave enough, to think that you don't need an outside source to tell you what to do. To think that you don't need the priest to heal you, or to cast out demons, or to help you with your family problems, right? We're just now making it to a point to where, and some people do still need therapy, not saying that, not saying don't go talk to someone about your issues or your problems. A third party can solve a two-party problem sometimes if they're good, but people should rely upon themselves. We are a spark of divinity. If you've not listened to Jordan Peterson talking about how we come from the sun, because the sun, S-U-N, is the Son of God, because it is the electricity. It does rise every morning, and if it doesn't, we're screwed, because we'll all freeze to death within 8 minutes of its disappearance, right? The sun was beautiful enough and giving enough to let us come through it, because it is our energy. But that's a whole nother whatever. Back to the Bible's divination magic. No, I wasn't on this one yet. I was still on this one with the Bible's, wrong way, Bible spells, right? So think about your favorite Bible verse and how it probably empowered you for something higher. I think the one that I held on to the hardest, be anxious for nothing, but in all things through prayer and supplication, make your requests be made known to God, and He will give you peace that surpasses understanding. Think about those words. Anxiety or peace. It's up to you. You choose, because when you call on Him, them, God, Goddess, the power above us, then we are asking them, believing they will grant that which we need. speaking over your life is the frequency and vibration to control the elements. But you've got to know what to speak. If you're going around singing the new modern day rap songs, holy Jesus, you are inviting chaos and pain, just overall what I see the kids today going through and what they think life is supposed to be about. Life sucks and then you die. You're supposed to be here to suffer. That's a mind F. This is not true. We came here to play and have fun and have a good time. We're going through a time right now that's very unsettling. It's a destabilizing time on purpose. Have you seen where we had 4 earthquakes, 2 in the same spot almost? And there's a little bit of question about that. Thank God we've gotten out of our box. We're all mean as a snake because we are questioning authority like never before. There are people already asking, is it possible that these earthquakes aren't natural occurrences? And yes, it is. What's going on in Venezuela now that the U.S. is taking over? Fracking again, right? And the drilling and all of this. So it's destabilizing those tectonic plates. And they said that, I think it was the second quake was bigger than the first, and it normally doesn't go that way. The first is larger than the second. There's a couple of scientific points as to why they think that it could be possible that it wasn't just a natural occurrence. But back to the subject. With the biblical spells, to me, I've always said this, the Bible is our first magic book. It's the first book that should empower you to open your mind, to realize that there's more. There's more than the money and the news and the chaos. There's a peace that surpasses understanding that's supposed to be ours through the Christos. And the Christos is what's freely available, more so now. Looking for my phone. Used to, people had to have enough money to travel, to read these books, to find these books. They had to go to the guru, right, in India. They had to find the writing on the wall in Egypt. Guys, it's in our pocket now. We don't have to go anywhere except our bed or the couch to look this stuff up. So this is what all of these planets coming together are signifying and signaling and showing us. All of the conjunctions that are coming through, those outer planets finally coming back into our orbit after thousands of years for some of, or not thousands of years for the conjunctions at the degrees that they're at. Like, what is it? Saturn and Uranus at 0 degrees Aries, right? It is just pivotal moments that all of the astrologers are like, it's happening, it's happening. I wish I knew and was gifted enough to know those things, but anyway, I don't. Healing of the kidney and back pain, Hebrews 9:14. How much more then will the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself unblemished to God, cleanse our conscience from acts that lead to death? Anyway, it goes through and it gives you different scripture for whatever it is that you need to heal. Right? All right. And then the Bible's Divination Magic, which is, the guy came into the shop looking for this one. And I think you guys that come in would be interested in it. It actually goes through and talks about the different cards of the tarot and which ones are linked to which archangel. Let me find it in here. I should have marked it. But it has the astrology in the Kabbalah in here. It has the tree of life. It goes into depth about the different plaques and what these plaques mean, and serpents, and what it goes through and talks about that got my attention was the difference in a practitioner and someone that calls themselves a sorcerer, right? And these are important things to know. People nowadays can call themselves a witch if they want to. For the most part, they're saying I'm more of a spiritualistic, or more of the yoga, spiritual, without a word, really. Eclectic, I think, is what's hitting most people. Because everybody searches for that specific word that makes them fit. But there is no word that I've run across for this practice. It's empowering beyond just a word. It's giving you access to an ancient energy that you had forgotten, that you had freely available. This is something we're all, as a collective, just now remembering, pulling all of us back together that have this memory of knowing more than 2 plus 2 is 4 and ABCD, THE spells the crap that they taught us in school, right? Which is not helping us navigate through life. It's causing our kids to owe money to a government that doesn't support them. I mean, don't get me started. Anyway, back to the Bible's divination magic. It goes through and talks about the Old Testament versus the New Testament. And the sorcerer, like I was saying with the sorcerer's part, it says that Moses was actually a sorcerer because he carried the staff that he needed to perform a lot of his magic. And to me, it almost said that the word sorcery could be put on the more maleficent type of magic that people may do. And I'm not going to go very deep into that. It goes into Christ magic, the Trinity, and the Mass Transfiguration rituals. So it gives rituals that you can go through. Tells about Jesus's magic and his rituals, the high priesthood of Melchizedek, and alchemy. Very, very informative. Good read, easy read, quick to read, and one that I would definitely recommend. So, Bible's Hidden Divination Magic by Ashley H.A. Williams. She even has a section on curses and casting down, hexes, different things that you would need to do, return to senders. There was one other thing that I wanted to tell you about. It goes through to ask if divination was wrong. Oh yeah, it goes through the women of the Bible and what she feels like they were and how they were doing things. And what really got me, because I hate medicine, big pharma, the whole thing. For those of you that don't know my story, about 2003, started having really bad back pain, a lot of trouble, didn't feel good, didn't know why. Went into the doctor's office and they gave me pain pills. That's what they did back then. We go through, couldn't find the issue. Nobody really wanted to find the issue, just want to keep giving me these pills. So we find the issue. We finally get somebody, not what I should have had done, but they took out my left kidney. And I thought, okay, I'm done with these pills. Threw them away. Realized that coming off of pain pills after you've been on them for a year or so, it's hard as heck. I had no idea. I did have an idea, I guess, but I didn't realize how difficult it would be to try to quit physically. It was like having the flu constantly and a deep bone ache. I don't know what those chemicals are that are in those things, but after I was done, I called them a devil in a bottle. I would never wish that on anybody. So I never have any prejudice towards anybody that's struggling with any sort of addiction whatsoever. I do feel like these demons come after those of us that have a calling. The bigger your calling, the more these things are going to come after you and try to keep you down. So it's definitely something that you've got to overcome. But I said all that to say, it says in this book, when you go into the doctor, that script is a spell that he is writing, incanting, for you, right? And even the seal, the RX, is a sigil saying that the magic will indeed happen. I'm sure that's not what our doctors are thinking nowadays, but it made a lot of sense. And when I wrote my books in 2011 or 12, I really got into how pharmakia, the Greek word, literally means spirit. And so through these chemicals, you're inviting a spirit. Well, we as practitioners know that that's how you cure people. You have to have an energy if you've gotten that sick now. If it's still off balance energy, you can balance it back out with sound, with light therapy. There's lots of things. But once it's gone for years and it's gone deep and internal, then there must be a connection spiritually to the plant through the planet that corresponds with it. You're going to want as much energy together with your correspondences as you can to heal what that is that's ailing inside the body. These pills can't do that. They can only mask, or I can't prolong even what the problems are. But anyway, she goes through medical sorcery and pharmakia. It's really, like I said, and then it goes through and gives you different scripture to back these things up. You guys know me. This term prescription includes script, reminiscent of a scripted spell. So they, in essence, are inscribing a spell when they have the staff of Caduceus, right? This is Mercury over here, who is also Tho, who is also Hermes. And here is the Caduceus magical symbol. And there are our Uraeus. So there you go. Mean as a snake. And it does go through some glamour magic. I like that. You hardly ever see glamour magic in these books. But for those of you that are still tiptoeing around in your spirituality and you feel there's more, but you're still in the light white side, which is the right side of that tree of life, but it's unbalanced because you got to see the shadow as well. Wherever there's light, there's going to be a shadow cast. So we've got to deal with that other side too. But that takes some calming of the nervous system, really, because we have been taught to fear. And what is fear? False evidence appearing real. We've been taught to sit back, to be a good girl, to put on the pantyhose and the dress and look the part and dye your hair blonde and want the blue eyes and want to be skinny and want to look like that other one that was just spit out of a machine to look. No. The divine feminine energy is here to wake us up and tell us, you're mean as a snake. Don't put up with this. You don't have to dress a certain way. You don't have to talk a certain way. You don't have to be a certain color. You don't have to have a certain amount of money. None of that is true. Those are just mind bombs that they've made us think are paradigm so that they could shrink us. If they've got us in fear, they've got control over us. They, just being the powers that be, the things that we imagine are more than us, right? So anyway, I had to get this in real quick. I'd been saying I was going to do a Bible video, so here it is. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was informative enough to make you want to get one, if not both of these books, and maybe come visit Alabama. See you guys. Love to you.